project as the catalyst for the regeneration, revitalization of this great asset that we have, downtown Kingston.
The Urban Development Corporation is the leading development agency of the government of Jamaica, and we have been making development happen since 1968.
It is not surprising that when the government of Jamaica decided that it wanted to see Kingston come alive again, see to the redevelopment of Kingston, it turned to the UDC. And indeed, you would have seen some of the efforts bearing fruit already.
One of those is at the northern end of downtown, which would be in and around the National Heroes Park.
We are involved in the Government Oval project, which we are doing the study and the work for, which would cause the various important ministries of the government to be located in one geographic area for ease of business and so on.
At the very core of it is the establishment of new Houses of Parliament, new purpose-built Houses of Parliament. And in that regard, the UDC has launched and is running a national design competition.
It's a 9-month-long process. We started with the Prime Minister announcing the opening of the competition.
We've been guided by a bipartisan parliamentary steering committee, and we have had a wide selection of professionals serve on our jury.
We also have gotten a patron. This patron is Gordon Gill. He is the person who helps us to steer this competition where it should go and give us the international experience and expertise.
The first phase was open to all the registered Jamaican architects at home and abroad, so that we could open it to as much participation as possible.
Since then, we've had the jurors, we've had the competitors go through a rigorous routine of looking at the existing facilities at Gordon House, looking at the site at Heroes Circle, and also getting first-hand information from the parliamentarians as well as from the administrators of the parliament.
We received some 24 submissions. From those 24 submissions, the top 5 was selected by the jury.
This building will seek to bring the people of Jamaica and their elected representatives in a closer harmony and oneness of purpose by Jamaicans for Jamaicans.
I think the quality and standard of architecture that was submitted and selected is really at the highest level.
All the designs are very open, very transparent, allowing not just air and light to circulate.
Any of the 5 chosen, we would have a spectacular building which Jamaica will be proud of.
The 5 finalists will be working to improve their designs and to detail them, as well as to look at costings. And that will come to a close in January of 2019, when the jury will do its final sitting and review, and we will select the first, second, and third prize winners.
The standard is now set. The expectations have been kind of cast. I think the next steps and the future is really bright.
We expect certainly Parliament will be completed in the next 2 years. The Government Oval will take a little longer time because we have to do the feasibility work and the community consultation, all of which just started. And we expect that with the Parliament and the Government Oval, when completed, it will be an iconic setting.
Dear Mr. Prime Minister, what is going to happen to the people of my community, Allman Town?
I am 54 and I've been here from I was born. And my grandmother used to send here, my mother and also me. So I really don't want to remove.
The government can't prepare so much job for the whole of we. So why not develop out here, make we can look after our children?
I'm not talking about displacing the people who are there, because you know what? It is the people that brings the vibrancy to the area.
The UDC has plans to build 5,000 homes for various income bands and create 27 acres of green space.
I like the evolution of the space itself based on the basis of the act, but we must be mindful of the surrounding communities.
I'd love to see that there's some form of a recreational facility inside of the park for the residents, especially the children. And so, you know, first you can play the little football or the little netball, any form of activity there. As long as there's space for that, then I'm good with it.
The King George Act, which spoke to kind of the idea or the premise that a parliament building could be in the park, but also that the park is for the people, I think that was captured in the 5 designs. You know, I don't think that there's one project that ignored the public importance of that park.
We hope to see the development take place in a manner where all residents are sensitized, we are engaged, we are involved and included in the process.
My concern is that they are not giving us much information on what's going on.
We have engaged the premier government agency, the Social Development Commission, to assist us in that regard, to meet the people in their communities, to talk to them, to explain what are our thoughts, to listen to them, and to be guided by some of their ideas.
It is not for the comfort of the parliamentarian. It is about making the Jamaican state more effective.
There are a lot of unemployed youths around the community and they won't work. Everyone needs money, so I guess it creates a chance for employment and better housing facilities, because you know some of the houses are not up to par up here.
The residents believe that if the parliament building comes there, they can benefit from additional security. So the station here won't be short of police officers.
It's long in coming, you know. That parliament don't let to me that outdated. We want state-of-the-art thing. So whoever go do it, they're moving a step in the right direction.
We're going to build this parliament, and we're going to do it the right way. We're going to take all concerns on board. We're going to take all suggestions on board. It is going to be bipartisan, multi-sectoral, and it will be done in the best interest of all the peoples of Jamaica.
It's really going to change the way that people think about Jamaican architecture.
The excitement is already in the air.
Now just imagine in a few years, this space and the wider downtown area will be transformed into a vibrant, enviable, iconic destination. The Houses of Parliament will be the anchor stone for all of that. It will hold a central position in Kingston, the capital. We will have 14 government ministries and core agencies conveniently and efficiently located within the 300 acres of surrounding land. Can you imagine the efficiency of that when we purposely plan and build for an efficient government?
Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to take your seats as we await the arrival of the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, and we move to begin the proceedings.
our vision is that Kingston must be like what London is to the United Kingdom. We want Kingston to be like what Singapore is to Asia. Kingston should be like what Paris is to France. Kingston must be like what South Africa is to the motherland. We want Kingston, Jamaica, to be the epicenter of the Caribbean region.
And that vision starts with the construction of a new Houses of Parliament complex, the anchoring structure for the proposed Government Oval. To be built within the 300 acres of land surrounding the National Heroes Park, the Oval will have 14 government ministries, agencies, and departments, centrally located to the hub of business and the 7th largest natural harbor in the world. Since the advent of universal adult suffrage in 1944, Jamaicans have had a hand in choosing those who will represent their interests and direct the affairs of the state on their behalf. But long before this important marker in history, Jamaicans have been resolved on the need of a central location from which the affairs of the people are to be administered. Today, Gordon House on Duke Street is that seat of government. This two-story building became the official meeting place of the Jamaican government on Wednesday, October 26, 1960. Like other sites of the past, which were found unsuitable for one reason or another, Gordon House is now poised to make way for the march of progress and designation of a new meeting place for the people's representatives.
Gordon House was designed and built for meetings of the municipal council. So the fact is that Gordon House was always a temporary house of parliament. Aside from the issue of insufficient space, lack of adequate parking, and facilities to interact and engage with the public, the building itself lacks the stature and functionality of a modern parliament.
So for decades, various governments have pondered and pursued plans for a new parliament building. Time and again, the consensus was clear. The legislative arm of government should be situated in the place where the nation's heroes are honored, a place where history has left its mark. Heroes Circle, as Jamaicans now know it to be, was once the Kingston Racecourse, the island's premier location for horse racing. The racecourse grounds also hosted cricket, cycling, traveling circuses, and many other entertainment-based events. Around since 1783, the property, previously named Montgomery Pen, was purchased in 1818 by the Kingston Council. It was on these grounds that former slaves celebrated full freedom in 1838, and decades later, Queen Victoria's Golden and Diamond Jubilees. The Jamaica National Exhibition of 1891 was also held on these grounds, at the site of what is now the Wolmer's School. Renamed the George VI Memorial Park in 1953, a war memorial was also erected to honor those who served in the First and Second World Wars. Then, in 1956, as the island was making the transition from British rule to full self-governance, the local authority passed the King George VI Memorial Park Act. This law was designed to wind up operations at the Kingston Racecourse, which would later, in 1973, be renamed in honor of those who played a heroic role in shaping our great nation.
This act primarily designated the Kingston Racecourse as an area of recreation, public gardens, entertainment, and so forth. It also designated that the minister had the authority to designate certain areas as the location for the new parliamentary building.
And I share that vision, that we should make Hero Circle the center, the government circle. We are announcing today the start of what we call Government Circle.
Making good on that announcement, a non-binding agreement was signed with China Construction America for the conceptualization and design of a model.
The idea is to use this project as the catalyst for the regeneration
revitalization of this great asset that we have, downtown Kingston.
The Urban Development Corporation is the leading development agency of the government of Jamaica, and we have been making development happen since 1968.
It is not surprising that when the government of Jamaica decided that it wanted to see Kingston come alive again, see to the redevelopment of Kingston, it turned to the UDC. And indeed, you would have seen some of the efforts bearing fruit already.
One of those is at the northern end of downtown, which would be in and around the National Heroes Park.
We are involved in the government overall project, which we are doing the study and the work for, which would cause the various important ministries of the government to be located in one geographic area for ease of business and so on.
At the very core of it is the establishment of new Houses of Parliament, new purpose-built Houses of Parliament. And in that regard, the UDC has launched and is running a national design competition.
It's a 9-month-long process. It started with the Prime Minister announcing the opening of the competition.
We've been guided by a bipartisan parliamentary steering committee, and we have had a wide selection of professionals serve on our jury.
We also have gotten a patron. This patron is Gordon Gill. He is the person who helps us to steer this competition where it should go and give us the international experience and expertise.
The first phase was open to all registered Jamaican architects at home and abroad, so that we could open it to as much participation as possible.
Since then, we've had the jurors, we've had the competitors go through a rigorous routine of looking at the existing facilities at Garden House, looking at the site at Heroes Circle, and also getting first-hand information from the parliamentarians as well as from the administrators of the parliament.
We received some 24 submissions. From those 24 submissions, the top 5 was selected by the jury.
This building will seek to bring the people of Jamaica and their elected representatives in a closer harmony and oneness of purpose by Jamaicans for Jamaicans.
I think the quality and standard of architecture that was submitted and selected is really at the highest level.
All the designs are very open, very transparent, allowing not just air and light to circulate.
Any of the 5 chosen, we would have a spectacular building which Jamaica will be proud of.
The 5 finalists will be working to improve their designs and to detail them, as well as to look at costings. And that will come to a close in January of 2019, when the jury will do its final sitting and review, and we will select the first, second, and third prize winners.
The standard is now set. The expectations have been kind of cast. I think the next steps and the future is really bright.
We expect certainly Parliament will be completed in the next 2 years. The government overall will take a little longer time because we have to do the feasibility work and the community consultation, all of which just started. And we expect that with the Parliament and the government overall, when completed, it will be an iconic setting.
Dear Mr. Prime Minister, what is going to happen to the people of my community, Allman Town?
I am 54 and I've been here from I was born. And my grandmother used to send here my mother and also me. So I really don't want to remove.
The government can't prepare so much job for the whole of it. So why not develop out here? Make we can look after our children.
I'm not talking about displacing the people, because you know what, it is the people that brings the vibrancy to the area.
The UDC has plans to build 5,000 homes for various income bands and create 27 acres of green space.
I like the evolution of the space itself based on the basis of the atom.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. Ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to remain standing for the playing of the national anthem.
Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us to respect for all. Sir, response to duty call. Strengthen us, the weak to cherish. Give us vision lest we perish. Knowledge sent us, Heavenly Father, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Your MC for this morning's proceedings is Ms. Heather Pinnock, Acting General Manager of the Urban Development Corporation. Please make her feel welcome.
Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, members of the Cabinet, President of the Senate, Honorable Tom Tavares Finson, Speaker of the House, Honorable Pernell Charles Sr., Senator Ransford Braham and other members of the Senate, members of Parliament, Ministers of State, Mrs. Audrey Sewell and other permanent secretaries, patron of the design competition, Architect Gordon Gill, jury, members of the UDC and other agency boards, the competition secretariat, our design teams, members of the public and private sector, distinguished ladies and gentlemen all. Good morning, and welcome to the Houses of Parliament Design Competition Awards Ceremony, where the winning and runner-up teams, as well as the People's Choice in this national architectural competition, will be finally revealed. Our first order of business on this very special occasion, however, being hosted by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation in collaboration with the Urban Development Corporation, is a word of prayer from Reverend Omar Morrison of the First Missionary Church. Reverend Morrison.
Morning, everyone. Let's stand together for prayer, please. Let's pray. Almighty God, creator and sustainer of the universe, we give you thanks for this beautiful day. We acknowledge that in your grace and mercy you give to all men life, one breath at a time. We acknowledge that you give to us strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. We acknowledge the gift of your Son, the Lord Jesus, whose death, burial, resurrection, and temptation we reflect on in the season of Lent. Eternal Father, we thank you for the Houses of Parliament Design Competition and Awards Ceremony for which we have gathered. We're grateful to you, O God, that in our rich history as a nation, we have had the privilege of having our history being punctuated with purposeful and hopeful occasions such as these. In humility, we acknowledge that all true wisdom, creativity, and the capacity to make a meaningful difference through our work come from you. We thank you for each of the entrants to this competition and we celebrate with those who have made it to the top 5, the list of top 5 designs. Thank you for their creativity, their diligence, their passion, and their investment in Jamaica's future. Thank you, O God, for their patriotic interpretation of what an iconic edifice such as the Houses of Parliament should be in its functionality and aesthetic appeal. We thank you too, O God, for how all these entrants have grown and developed throughout the process of the competition. Our Father, we're grateful to you too for the input of the many stakeholders whose contribution is being reflected here today in one way or another in this important national project. Thank you for the pivotal role of the Urban Development Corporation in this process. We ask you, O God, that you will graciously grant them wisdom, courage, and the foresight necessary to continue to make development happen in a way that is socially uplifting, fiscally prudent, and environmentally responsible. Almighty God, we place this ceremony into your hands, and we ask for your gracious help for each participant. May the sense of excitement that we feel today spread across our beloved nation, bringing the fragrance of hope of a brighter future. May this sense of excitement result in a new resolve for bold self-determination in a way that will fill the hearts of future generations with a sense of pride. All-knowing God, we are aware that iconic buildings, though important, are insufficient for our progress as a people. For unless you build a city, we build in vain. Unless you build our character and preserve the social and moral fabric of our nation, we will fail you and fail each other. So please help us. Loving God, in addition to the revelation of the winning designs today, may Jamaica win. May Jamaica win and increase in beauty, fellowship, prosperity, and progress for all Jamaicans here and abroad. All these mercies we humbly ask you in the name of your life-giving Son, Jesus, to whom be glory and honor forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Morrison. As many of you may already know, this design composition was executed to involve Jamaicans in the process of designing and implementing the country's first ever purpose-built parliamentary building. The overarching goal of this competition, which was launched back in May of 2018, is to have a structure designed by the people for the business of the people. More than 200 Jamaicans across the globe registered to be a part of this competition during the initial phase. At the end of stage 1, the competition secretariat, led by the UDC, received designs from 24 teams, each led by a registered Jamaican architect. The competition's panel of jurors, guided by the Clerk of the House and her administrative team, as well as the Parliamentary Steering Committee, ensured that the detailed criteria laid out within the rules of the contest were adhered to before the entries were narrowed down to these top 5 designs on show here today. So, as we move one step closer to achieving this goal, today we will refresh our minds and our creative taste buds with the top 5 designs, which made it to the final stage of the Houses of Parliament design competition. They are Ubuntu, Out of Many, One People, the Grand Veranda, the National Flower, and the National Veranda. However, before we go any further into the details of today's proceedings, His Worship the Mayor Councillor Delroy Williams, our first citizen and mayor of Kingston and St. Andrew, will officially welcome you to this event.
Madam Chair, Most Honorable Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, Cabinet Ministers, Members of Parliament, Senators, Heads of Department, the Head of the UDC and the UDC Board, an organization that has been playing a pivotal role in this process. First, let me just say that we want to commend the Urban Development Corporation for its role in this process and the leadership it has shown in carrying us through this process. To commend also the government, the cabinet, for the process which has seen the population getting involved and being informed every step of the way with respect to this project, which is a significant project in the life, not of only the city, but in the life of our country. I'm just coming from a signing ceremony, signing an MOU with a company iCreate. And that ceremony, it's a partnership between the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation and iCreate in terms of providing training in the creative industries for young people across the municipality. And the reason for that is that we believe that the creative industry is critical in terms of generating employment within our country. But also the KSAC is committed to developing the imaginative faculties of our young people across the municipality. We believe that the maturing of the imaginative faculty within the city is pivotal to our vision to make Kingston the pearl of the Antilles. And this event and the process that has taken place so far for the Houses of Parliament is also part of that, because it has gotten Jamaicans involved in designing and in using their imagination to come up with what I believe will be, in the end, a grand parliament. The imagination is critical, and as I welcome you here as mayor, I still want to emphasize how important it is, because a simple example is that we know when you're constructing a bridge, and as you're going to construct the Houses of Parliament, when we get to that time, engineers come to the fore, and they use the art sciences to construct the bridge, or in this case, the Houses of Parliament. But then we have to ask ourselves the question, where does the concept of a bridge come from? So it's one thing to use the art sciences in terms of your calculations and all of that for the construction of the structure. But it's another thing in terms of the concept of the structure. And that is where we believe that the imagination is important, that creativity within us as Jamaicans. And that is why we are saying every event and every project and every training within our city that helps and guide and nurture the imaginative faculty is important to us. Kingston, the redevelopment of our city is taking place. It's moving quickly under, the current government is very serious about the development, not only the redevelopment, but the development of the city. If we look across the city, the infrastructure is being put in place. There's infrastructural improvement, expansion. There are plans for, with respect to sewage. We know we have issues with sewage in certain sections of the city. all those plans are in place by the government. As a municipality, we can only say to the government and to the people of the municipality for understanding and working with us through the inconvenience. We only can say thank you. I believe over the next 10 years, our city will be a mature city. Our city will be the pearl of the Antilles, and our city will be the capital of the Caribbean Sea. And as we like to put it, the light of the Caribbean Sea. Light in the sense that I believe that our city must provide leadership in terms of ideas and finding solutions to problems across the Caribbean. So we have to play a significant role in terms of the solutions and our thinking capacity and finding solutions to the myriad of problems confronting us as a city. So as I close, let me just again say on behalf of the municipality, because what is happening here is very helpful to the municipality and in us pursuing our vision. This event shows that the vision to make Kingston the pearl of the Antilles is realizable. And the path to that vision is sure and very clear. Most Honorable Prime Minister, again I say thank you very much and the Cabinet for the leadership in with respect to the redevelopment of our city. It is important. The economy of Kingston is important to the economy of Jamaica. It's for me as mayor, it's hard for me to see the economy of Jamaica growing without Kingston playing a very important role in that. So let me say thank you very much, and thank you again to the UDC for the leadership provided, and all the other agencies that have been working closely with the UDC in making this happen. It will happen. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now invite you to observe the first of the top 5 designs, Ubuntu.
We have the most energy efficient building, we have the most symbolic building, we have the most easy building to construct. This is just a spatial layout of the entire park. The building has 2 entries on either side. So in this particular building, we chose to use the configuration for courtyard. So the building becomes 2 courtyards juxtaposed against each other to allow maximum light and ventilation on the inside, and also reducing the energy and increasing the performance of the building. Now we have 2 chambers, Senate and Parliament, and we've done them quite differently.
And now, to tell you more about the Urban Development Corporation and the importance of this project in making development happen, is our chairman, Senator Ransford Braille.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Prime Minister, Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Cabinet Ministers, the Members of Parliament, Senators, the Speaker of the House of Parliament, Honorable Pernell Charles, President of the Senate, Mr. Tom Tavares Finson, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and her team, members of the UDC board, staff of the UDC, ladies and gentlemen, and I am sorry that I have created my own protocol list, but I was advised if I make it short, I should be fine. And so my remarks also will be short. That is to encourage you to listen and to applaud me regularly during the process.
But just this month, the UDC celebrated 51 years of its existence. And I am aware that most of us are aware that the UDC had been involved in much of the iconic development in the cities and certain towns in Jamaica. Indeed, we speak of the 60s and the downtown skyline and the waterfront development, and we speak of Ocho Rios, and we speak of Montego Bay. And indeed, over the years, we have been involved in several projects and so on. But there have been times when the UDC has not been as active as some of us would like it to be. And that generally is due to economic constraints, the country going through certain economic difficulties and so forth. But I am privileged to be the chairman of the UDC at a time when I'm told, being not an economist, that our fiscal space is excellent. And therefore that the UDC can shake up itself. And that's what I want to tell you about today, that the UDC is alive and well, that the UDC in recent times has facilitated development downtown, the new Ministry of Foreign Affairs building. The UDC has facilitated the new Grace Kennedy building. The UDC has facilitated the pier at Victoria Pier. The UDC has more work to be done downtown, and as time comes along, you will see what those are, including certain housing development on the waterfront. Indeed, in Ocho Rios, apart from the promenade and the main street development, there will be beach development and similar things. In Montego Bay, the Prime Minister broke ground only a few weeks ago concerning the building of an iconic park down on what used to be called Dump Up Beach. I want to thank the Prime Minister, who is our responsible minister, the ministers who have been responsible for the UDC, Dr. Chang at one point, the Minister Samuda, and Minister Charles has arrived, and we expect great things from him. All I would say is that the Prime Minister and these ministers have been very, very facilitative of the UDC. They have been very patient with the chairman, who often, like the importunate widow, beg on behalf of the organization. And so I want to thank them. But I also want to thank the Permanent Secretary, Ms. Audrey Swell, and her team, because without them, even though the ministers and so on may have approved, we would not be able to be as active as we are today. So thank you, Permanent Secretary, and your team. Thanks to the staff and management of the UDC. And I want to say that the UDC is alive and well. Look out, more is yet to come. Watch the building of this parliament. Watch the development of this community that the government has been pressing, and we are pressing for more work. We feel that good work only begets good work. And so we are, again, making a public appeal for continued support from our minister and our new minister for the UDC's continued iconic work. It is indeed the best organization of its type in Jamaica and the English-speaking Caribbean. And so, yes, thank you very much. And so it leaves me then to say that it is a wonderful privilege for this organization to be associated with this project. But more importantly, we will celebrate in short order in the next several months when the actual building is completed and the parliament assumes its place. That would be a wonderful achievement, and that would be a true time to celebrate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. And thank you again to all the agencies who have been a part of getting us here today. Again, a special thanks to the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation and the NSWMA, who have also been a part of the process and especially the event today. Next, I am pleased to welcome the Honorable Carl Samuda, who has been our oversight minister, as Chairman just said, but has also very specially served as the chairman of the Parliamentary Oversight Steering Committee for this competition and has been a champion for this process. Please welcome me. Please join me in welcoming Minister Samuda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Seized as I am of the need for brevity, and having sat through repetitive protocol lists, I hope you will pardon me if I abbreviate the list in my protocol presentation. Firstly, Prime Minister, Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Ministers of Government, President of the Senate, Speaker of the House, other very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. That, I think, covers everybody. We are here experiencing what for many is the commencement of the final stages of a dream come true. 15 years or so ago, I became a member on a bipartisan committee to look at the possibility of creating a new parliament. It never got to the point where we could say we achieved anything. After spending the last 40 years of my life being a member of Parliament at Gordon House, sitting as I and others have to on the same set of chairs that we saw when we entered there in 1980. Behind the desks that we also saw, there is not a single thing that has really improved to any degree. But when we sit and aspire for a new Parliament building, I want to pay special credit and congratulations to our Prime Minister, without whose vision and determination today would not exist. Without the leadership offered by the office of the Prime Minister, nothing of this nature could ever have gotten to the stage that it is today. I want to congratulate the UDC, with whom I work very closely with this project. Their diligence, their stick-to-itiveness, and indeed their sense of confidentiality. I don't know who's the winner, and I rather suspect the Prime Minister doesn't either. The fact of the matter is that they have acted in the most professional manner that you can find anywhere. So I agree with you, the greatest organization in the hemisphere. We are at what I believe is the 7th stage of this development, and we only have 2 more. After today, we then go to groundbreaking. It has been a fantastic journey. I've worked with some incredibly brilliant people. I've been exposed to the finer art of architectural science, and the patron is a man that is always willing to impart his knowledge and to share with novices like myself what it is that you look for and what you seek to achieve. This is the best of Jamaican architectural creativity that is going to be unveiled here today, in my opinion. But one of the features that I appreciate most is the fact that the Prime Minister insisted that it should not just be a choice of jurists, but that the people should have a say in who is awarded this contract. So I'm anxiously awaiting the choice of the people in this process. I want to congratulate the UDC once more for their effort. I want to also say thanks to the opposition who shared this process with us at the parliamentary committee level, steering committee level, and we are at one in the process. whenever you get members of the other side in the same room, we always will have our disagreements. But all in all, there is unanimous support for not only the process, but for the end result. And I look forward to seeing who the winner is. And no matter what, I will say one thing, based on the exposure I've had with all of the designs, there is no loser. They're all fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Braham and the Honorable Carl Samuda for those resounding acknowledgements. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy Out of Many, One People.
We spent a lot of time preparing for this. We're looking forward to presenting.
The experience starts effectively outside the front door. To the north, we have a formal entrance. We've created the Senate and the House of Representatives as a focal point. The lobby actually bleeds between those two spaces. We wrap the edge of the building with all of the office and the working spaces. Those atriums at level 0 actually have landscape.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can cast your eyes to the left of the stage, it's now time to enjoy another taste of musical delight. Please give a warm welcome to the Pimento Band featuring Tash Solomon.
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Oh, it's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but you. We're gonna turn this one up a little notch for you. Feel a reggae music, sweet, yeah. Where there is pain, there's a melody. Where there's this music, there's a harmony that brings everything together. So make we rock together. And who said life not hard? And every man got their troubles. I'm begging you help me, Lord. So let me overcome my struggles. Everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and rock away. You don't feel the reggae music. That's how it everybody wanna feel like free. Forget your troubles and rock with me. You don't feel the reggae music, sweet, yeah. We skanking till the morning comes. Until the day when our chapels are gone. Hallelujah. We're grooving in our journey. We're grooving on my troubles away. Everybody wanna feel like we. Forget your troubles and rock with me. You don't feel the reggae music. I saw it. Everybody wanna feel like we. Forget the jealous and my rock with we. You're no feet on bass are sweet. Yeah. Feel this wicked. Somewhere to feel on a rhythm. Come rock with me. Yeah. You're no feel the reggae music sweet. Yeah. I wanna give it up. Oh, boo, 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 thank you very, 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 very much. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for the delightful musical stylings of Tash and the Pimento Band. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the Grand Veranda.
We have worked hard for this. We know we have a strong design, and Jamaica needs this.
We begin with a strategy of lifting the building up. By lifting it up, we give the building prominence. The building as a basic organization. It's actually a very simple building. A box with a courtyard. At the center from that courtyard, we layer out with meeting rooms, circulation zones, offices, a perimeter courtyard, and then the landscape. And the veranda itself is a place we can gather. One in which citizens can gather casually, but also where we can gather formally.
Our competition patron, a Jamaican-born and internationally recognized architect, is one of the world's foremost exponents of performance-based architecture. Among our patrons' many designs, which have been repeatedly recognized and awarded by the American Institute of Architects and architectural institutions around the world, he was selected as Chicago's best emerging architect. In 2013, he was elected to the College of Fellows of the American Institute of Architects, and in 2015, his firm, Adrian Smith and Gordon Gill Architecture, was ranked the #1 firm in the United States by Architecture Magazine. Given his many commitments, we are particularly honored that he agreed to provide oversight and leadership by design. He has been an extremely engaging patron, and we warmly welcomed his contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the patron of the Houses of Parliament Architectural Design Competition, Architect Gordon Gill.
Thank you. Thank you, Heather. I'm going to break ranks a little bit and just tell you some of my thoughts about today as I sat there and watched this happening. Before I do, I want to personally thank the Honorable Prime Minister, not just for supporting my involvement in this project, but I want to echo the statements about his vision and his commitment and his genuine sincerity to the people of this city and this country for this project. I'd like to thank Senator Braham for keeping me involved with the UDC, and you know, it is really my honor and my pleasure to be a part of this. It was easy for me to say yes to this because you are making history today. I feel that I am somehow witness to the dawn of a new era. I feel it when I come here from Chicago. It's palpable. I feel the energy in the country. I feel the energy in the city. It's extremely positive. It's unbelievable. And I haven't seen that in decades as an individual. I believe this project is a catalyst for much more than just a building. And I think for all the architects who were involved, the jury whose tremendous efforts could not have been easy to select just one, I think this is a stepping stone to a sphere of influence that is rather tremendous. The sphere of influence from the music we just heard, which is everywhere around the world, from your hills, from your mountains, from your beaches, from your people. That influence is everywhere. And now I hope to see it in your design, in your city planning, and your architecture. I believe it is here. I believe we'll see it announced today. And I believe that this is just the beginning of an incredible growth for this country. Thank you for having me involved. Have a fantastic day. And I look forward to seeing the House of Parliament realized in the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Gill, for your heartfelt words. Ladies and gentlemen, next we present the National Flower.
We have developed what we consider to be an iconic building. It's innovative, it's modern.
The National Flower symbol is very, very important thing for us, and it's the basis of our whole design. We pulled the building back slightly, created that more generous forecourt to the west. The building is all organized around the House of Representatives and the Senate, each having their own sort of pavilion, and the roof is entirely for the public.
Our next speaker is chairman of the Commonwealth Societies of Architects in the Caribbean. I take this opportunity to remind you that he will also be speaking at a UDC-sponsored event this evening in association with the University of Technology's Faculty of the Built Environment's Caribbean School of Architecture, entitled For Through Into, at the university's Papine campus. Architect Mark Raymond, who is also jury chair of the competition, will provide the jurors' report. The report speaks to the design submissions, the detailed set of rules and guidelines implemented by the esteemed panel of jurors, and the stringent process. Ladies and gentlemen, Architect Mark Raymond. Make him feel welcome.
Good morning, everybody, and I think all the protocols have been duly observed. Most Honourable Prime Minister, thank you very much for having us all here today at this auspicious event. My job is to really give you a brief report from the jury. I had the privilege and honour of chairing the jury, and I'd like to acknowledge the jury members who are all here today. Christopher Liu, who is the immediate past president of the Jamaica Institute of Architects. Richard Pickart, a graduate of the Caribbean School of Architecture from the Urban Development Corporation. Martin Addington, representing the profession of planning. Dwight Ricketts, representing the profession of engineering. Dr. Elizabeth Pigu-Dennis, Vice Dean, Faculty of the Built Environment, UTEC Jamaica, and Jackie Ann Lawton, Head of the School of Architecture, Caribbean School of Architecture at UTEC. We had a really good time judging this competition. We met initially in September, where we reviewed all of the entries, and we narrowed it down to the 5 entries that are being presented today. And we then subsequently met after those designs had been further developed in January, where we deliberated further and came up with the final rankings that will be announced shortly. And it was a really wonderful experience to see the sheer creative imagination that went into these designs. Also really wonderful to see how many of the teams emanated in different ways, whether as teachers or students from all over the world, but also from the Caribbean School of Architecture. I think it's a testament to the school that it was so well represented in this competition. The competitors had a difficult job. The design of a parliament building is a complex challenge, the best of times. It's a complex program, a lot of conflicting demands to contend with. The contestants also had to deal with this site, which had its own challenges. And then they also had to address what a building like this means, the importance and significance of a parliament building, what it means in terms of the history of this country, what it means in terms of the contemporary condition of this country, and what it means in terms of what Gordon has just addressed, the aspirations of this country. It's a difficult challenge, a monumental challenge, and all of the entries, all of them, virtually without exception from the beginning, I think rose to that challenge admirably, creatively, and with great creative passion. And this morning, I came here a little earlier, and I was walking through the park for half an hour or so, collecting my thoughts and getting another feel for the site. And I thought, wouldn't it be good if everything that we lived in, everything we occupied, was invested with that same energy, that same creativity, that same passion? Wouldn't it be good if not just the parliament buildings or the office buildings, but the schools, the medical centers, all the buildings, all the spaces between those buildings that we occupy, enjoyed that same level of design? And I thought to myself, you know, we can do that. We have the resources. We clearly have the architectural talent to do that. And I would like to commend the Honourable Prime Minister and the government of this country for embarking on this competition and inviting that talent to come together. And I would like to invite you in future to continue processes like this. I think they raise the bar, and I think they help you achieve your goals and ambitions. And we have the resources. There are Jamaican, Caribbean architects who are all enormously talented, as this competition has demonstrated. So I think we have the resources, and we should follow this as an example in terms of how to build our future. And on that note, I would also just like to, from a professional and personal level, express my gratitude for the invitation for my own participation. I've been involved with the School of Architecture for almost 20 years now. It's a great privilege and honor for me to be able to contribute to your culture and your society in this way. And it's been a really wonderful experience. I think the process has been expertly managed. I think the Urban Development Corporation, on behalf of the government, have done a fabulous job. This was seamless. The jury was fully supported. Confidentiality was observed to a T. We had all the support we needed in what was a difficult task. And now, the jury's task is done. Our job is finished, and we're going to hear shortly who the winning entry is. And I look forward to seeing it, to seeing it realized, and to seeing realized what will be the most significant building to be built in the history of Jamaica. Thank you.
A special thank you again to architect Mark Raymond for his report. Ladies and gentlemen, we now invite you to view the Grand Veranda.
Tried our best to have a project that really we felt belonged to Jamaica and could really be the new future of the Jamaican Parliament.
We've structured this building program over 3 key levels: the elevated podium, an intermediate level, and the ground level. On approach to the building, you go through a field of columns that uphold the roof plane, allowing us to have a delicately diaphanous building. The veranda that wraps around the periphery of our shingled glass enclosure. And these are views of the House Chamber.
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the lead architect for this Houses of Parliament design competition. His commitment to seeing Jamaica achieve its very first purpose-built parliamentary building has been awe-inspiring, including spending very long hours with the team, going through in great detail, room by room, the requirements of a parliament building. He has encouraged us to lead by design every step of the way. Please stand and join me in welcoming our main speaker, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Well, firstly, I have a very long protocol list. So I tell you what we'll do. We'll dispense with it. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I recall giving a directive to my permanent secretary, and the head of protocol for the OPM is here as well, that once the protocol is established by the director of ceremony, then each speaker after that could dispense with it. It is a cultural change that we need to make about being efficient with our time. So I'm very pleased to be here at the National Heroes Park this morning for the Houses of Parliament Design Competition Awards ceremony. National Heroes Park is where the competition began. It is therefore most fitting that this is where the winner, and by the way, we are all winning right now, the winner will be announced. I want to join with the speakers before me in congratulating the UDC for this tremendous undertaking. it was a well-timed achievement as it coincides with the UDC's 50th anniversary. And I think that this is a very important project to mark this 50th anniversary of the UDC. I wish to acknowledge the contribution of the competition's patron, Mr. Gordon Gill. For those of you who don't know, Gordon was born right here in Jamaica in the hills of St. Anne. Ladies and gentlemen, the journey to today has been long, but rewarding. As the participants in the competition will tell you, the UDC that supervised it, the ministers, all who participated in it. The parliamentary building will not just be an edifice. It is not the governance of the country. And as referred to by the chairman of UDC, to effectively create the